Hey guys, welcome to a new review. Today I'm reviewing the Series 9 Beth figure from McFarlane Toys. And this figure is actually not that bad. I mean, compared to what I thought she would be like, it's not too horrible. So, I do have some complaints and gripes and stuff, but we'll get into that later into the review. So, first off, let's take a look at the other figures from this wave. We have, of course, Beth here, who she actually doesn't look so good in the prototype version here than she does here. She actually looks better here. Okay, T-Dog, that's apparently the best figure from the wave, but I haven't been able to see him. There's this, I think that's Water Walker, that's what they call it. And then there's Dale laying down like a lazy bum. And then there's Daryl with his Gravedigger stuff. We've only gotten him like twice now, and he's probably the fifth Daryl that's come with this body. That's ridiculous. And then we've got a Michonne figure, the third Michonne figure to come out, and another one that is a peg warmer. I have like 7 of her at my store. It's ridiculous. So, and let's just take a... dang it, Stumpy. Okay, just ignore Stumpy and let's take a look at the packaging. So there it says Beth, 12+, and then based on the hit TV series AMC has, okay. So, it's not really all that much different from the Series 8 packaging. It's got more of a brown tint instead of the greenish tint of the Series 8. But that's pretty much it. And, I mean, of course, there's the back that's the difference. Yeah, it would be kind of cooler, though, if they changed it up a bit for their last series of figures, made it a little more collector-friendly looking or something. But, you know, it's like they really didn't know that they were going to stop the 5-inch with these figures. So, let's take a look at her right here with her accessories out, and let's just get a close-up of her. I just realized I left one of her accessories still in the baggie here. Don't want to do that for when we're going over the accessories. That'll be a waste of time. Let me pull that out. Okay. Another one of my gripes are with her accessories, but we'll get into that afterwards. First, let's take a look at the Sculpt. And yeah, the Sculpt is definitely there. I mean, I can actually see Beth's face here. It's a little bit off with the paint, but the Sculpt is definitely good. Let me just compare that with Maggie's. The Maggie doesn't quite have the Sculpt as well as the Beth here. This one doesn't look so much like Lauren Cohan as this one looks like Emily Kinney. I believe that's her name, yeah. That's probably the first time I've gotten 2 actors' names right in a row. Woohoo! Okay. But yeah, this one is actually surprisingly good. Now, I've seen reviews like Mr. Evil Cheese's review and stuff, and he didn't make it look so good. That being said, the sculpt of the body still looks a little weird to me. The torso part here, I wish they didn't have this puffing out so much. It makes her look a little bit like she's got a belly, which isn't all that great, but you could just chalk that up as a poofy shirt. And then her hair color is another thing, but again, that's paint. For her sweater here, it's got some nice detailing that goes all the way throughout. And then that is complemented by the paint as well. Nice black wash over it. And you can see there's tiny little stitches in there that's been sculpted in. I like that a lot. Then her sleeves look really cool. And then, of course, here's a sculpting problem. They put pegs in her hands. So this is so that she can hold weapons instead of having the grasping type hands that every other figure has had. Now, this is not the first time they've done this. They did this with an exclusive figure. It's Alpha from the Whisperers. And she was a Skybound exclusive that you could only get on the internet, so that's why I never ordered her and reviewed her. But yeah, this has been done before and not very well. And now here it is again. Just for comparison, here's her hands next to any other figure's hands. Yeah. So, I might actually just swap these hands with, like, Andrea figures or something. Just because I don't care so much for having the sweater go all the way down to her fingers, as I would rather have her being able to hold anything. Except, because it's like this, she can only carry the accessories that she comes with. Which is, again, a little bit of a disappointer. But that is something that is curable. Okay. And I'd also like to point out, it really doesn't feel like you're getting your money's worth, since this is $18 is $17.99, but then after tax, it cost me $19.61. Whew, that's a big chunk of money for such a tiny chunk of plastic. Just look at that, so tiny. Here she is, just alongside a big character to give you a little bit of an idea here. See that? She's tiny. And I know Eugene's probably the biggest figure that's come out, but still, he makes her look much more like a dwarf than she should. I don't know, Emily Kinney's small, but shouldn't she be like almost Beth's type of size? I don't know. She just seems a little bit small. And then her like legs and arms are very skinny, but that's probably accurate to the actress. She was rather skinny. So there's her jeans. They do look nice. There is some slight little details of the fabric being put in there. Very nice, if you can see closely there, some scratchiness. Very good. And then her hinges don't actually make her look as ugly as usual. Usually they do. But not so bad on this one. And then I like she's got some rips in her pants. And then her boots are really nicely sculpted. Looks like very nice cowgirl boots. They've got some weird designs of flowers and stuff on there, which I'm just going to say is accurate because I don't remember seeing her boots, so yeah, why not accurate? Okay, now as for the paint is more of a falling down than the sculpt. The sculpt is really nice, gives her the nice sweater. She's got some nice little wrinkles in her clothing, like her shirt there. Face looks like her, hair is very natural looking, but then when it comes to the paint, maybe not so much the paint as the plastic choice. See, the plastic for the hair is actually yellow from the looks of it, or the rubber part of the ponytail and this part up here, which is, yeah, it's rubber, see? Yeah, it's very bright and not exactly blonde looking. Let me see if I have Andrea here. See, this is a bit more of a natural blonde look, which would be more fitting to Beth here, but they didn't go for that. Which is too bad, because I'm probably going to have to end up painting her hair the normal color then. Still, it's not too horrible, it's just kind of fake-ish looking. Like, you would have to use a bad hair dye to get that sort of yellow, right? It's not the best. And then for her face, this is one of the better ones. I have seen them where they have like these, let me get some focus back in here. I have seen them where they have horrible problems with their face, where they have like brown smudges around the under the eyes and around the nose, and that's supposed to be like, you know, just normal blushing type stuff, and it really messes it up. But on this one, not so bad, and the eyebrows are all correct, and the eyes are pretty much on point. There is very tiny little details put in there. Don't think it's picking up on the HD camera here too well, but she's got blue eyes with these tiny little dots in the middle and all, and everything's lined up pretty dang well. She's got little bags under her eyes, but that helps lend the look to Emily Kinney, and very good profile. I don't know, I'm very impressed by this one actually. Probably because I was expecting it to be such crap, and this is not crap. Why does the camera have to mess up like that? You pay $300 for a camera. Okay, if you pay $200 on a sale, whatever. And there's a nice wash all over her though. It gives her a nice little dirty look, and then she has some skin tone showing through the rips there. Nice little color variations on the boots, and then no peg holes or anything at the bottom. So that's very nice. Now let's take a quick look at the articulation. Okay, for articulation, she's pretty good. Let's start with her head. Head can turn this far to the side. She could do a 360 spin, kind of. It's a little tight, and then you have to move around the ponytail, but not bad. And then she can look back, or up, quite a bit, because this ponytail here is not inhibiting her much at all. It does feel a little bit flimsy, like if you do this way too much, it will fall off, and then you'll have to glue it back on, but not bad. And then she can look down that much. Quite a bit of good head articulation there. And then she has head pivot, and she could be a rocker girl there. And then at her arms, they can move up to not quite a right angle at all, but in a fair amount. And then You can do a full 360 spin at that shoulder. Then at the elbow, she can bend to almost 90-degree angle. Pretty good there. Full spin, which it can't be like a full 360 so much because there is an elbow extra piece of plastic sculpted there, which you could remove and then give her a slight bit more amount of articulation, just like with her part here. There's this like rubbery type of plastic that when you bend, it pushes that back. You can actually get her arm to articulate more if you were to cut that off. But anyway, moving forward, let's see. At the wrist, there's a 360 spin, which is a lot farther back on the wrist than it usually is on these figures. And then the articulation on her hand is weird because she has this tiny little hand that's connected to the shirt. But it does 360 spin, then she can do the scratching in a wall pose. And if you turn it just right, you can do the dice roll. Okay, and then on the other arm, it's got pretty much the same amount of articulation, 360 spin there, which is inhibited by the shirt here that sort of it makes it go in a pointed, angled type way up. And then there's elbow bend, which not quite 90 degrees again, and then 360 spin, scratch the wall, all that. And then at the waist, there's not really any rotation. So I'm going to say no rotation because you can kind of get a little bit of movement, but it's not really enough to classify, you know? So she can do the splits. That's very nice. Look at that. Like, just set her on the floor. I don't remember her ever doing the splits, but, you know, young girls, they're always doing yoga and stuff like that. Why not? And that's really good, actually, just saying. Most figures from McFarlane can't do the splits quite so well. And then here she is doing a kick forward, which is very nice. She can kick with both feet and just sit on the floor. She can bend her knees to not quite a 90-degree angle, little less, and then the other one just about the same. Then there is no rotation at the boot or anything. Oh no, wait, up at the calf there is rotation, but not any further than that, which is actually not too bad because if you remember the Andrea figure that we got, there is no rotation up there. Unfortunately though, even Andrea had some ankle articulation. But I don't mind it on this one because her legs are so tiny. I would imagine that being a bit of a problem for breaking wise. Yeah. So that's pretty much all the articulation. Pretty good. Now let's take a look at the accessories. So first accessory we've got here is a big whopping machine gun. So this thing is quite big, and you may notice there's a hole in there. That hole is, of course, for her tiny little peg in her hand, which this is a real pain in the butt because it's not just slipping her hand around this or anything. You have to line up the peg, which as you put it in, it kind of forces the peg in different directions, and you have to make sure that it stays aligned, and it's very hard to do. Especially since, see how her thumb is? I don't know if you can see that too well. That focus though. Yeah, her thumb is just this tiny nub there, and it's not pointed right for holding the gun, so you just gotta slide it on there and then it slightly stays in. And she can kind of hold it. It doesn't look like she's holding it. It looks like she's using some sort of force power to hover it in front of her hand. Yeah, not a fan of the way that works. But for its purpose, I will say it does kind of work. It's probably, she can kind of hold this weapon better than most female figures can. Just, I don't know, on this hand it kind of fits in better. But I doubt she's not strong enough to hold it with one hand, so trying to get her in a double-handed holding pose is not really possible as well. So this is not a very good accessory for her, but it looks rather nice, and let's grab a figure that can hold a machine gun and see how it looks in his hands. So here's Series 8 Rick, and Rick, of course, is a beast, best figure ever, but here he is holding the rifle. And yeah, his coolness is increased by having, I think this is an AR-15 maybe? Yeah, why not? Except for he can't hold it in a double-handed pose so easily. Just because his butt is so long. Look at that. That's a long gun. So, yeah, it's not really meant for Beth so much just because of its sheer size, because, as I said, she is rather tiny and this thing is more than half her size. Next accessory is her. This is my favorite accessory that she comes with because it's the knife that she uses. Let me get that focus back here. And this one has a little bit more paint detail than the other ones. This one has sort of a silverish gray paint to it. There we go, focus. And then it's got a little bit of black on the handle and then a dark wash all over. Then there's some silver button type stuff added on there. And then of course that stupid hole. But this one looks really nice. It's rather thick, doesn't feel like it's going to break. And in anyone else's hand it actually holds pretty well. Let me just put in Maggie's here. Maggie actually holds it like a champ. That's why I'm thinking maybe swapping hands or something. That would probably not be too bad. Anyway, very nice, but then let's see what it looks like in Beth's hands. Gotta line up those pegs and holes and stuff, and it's my least favorite part of my job. Oh yeah, that's not working too easily. It's ridiculous, because you have to line it up perfectly and then kind of twist and turn until it gets in there, so that's why she is a perfect figure for customizing. If you want to turn a figure better, she's probably the one. Urgh, please just make these. Okay, on the other hand, it holds it easy. Still doesn't look too much like she's actually holding it like legitimately, but if you turn off to the side like this, it's a bit better, or hold it like this. I don't know, I think that looks better. What do you think? Yeah. And then if you try and get her to hold it upside down, it doesn't work so much, which I believe they kill walkers mostly like this. But yeah, it doesn't hold. That's what my problem is with these pegs. It's just suck, I gotta say. It's just suck. And then her final accessory here is my least favorite accessory of all time. It's my least favorite gun, really, that's been... Here's the Series 7 Rick gun, and it's exactly the same type. And only this one has less detail, and it's got a hole in it. So yeah, that just is so bad. I wish they re-sculpted one that's a lot tinier and more detailed looking. But they went the cheap way and just gave us a gun that they've already put out. Pretty sure all of her other accessories are first releases. Like, I haven't seen this one before as far as I can think. It might just be Morgan's gun redone, can't tell. But this pistol, she doesn't really even want to hold. It just falls out. And then on the other hand, it just falls out too, I'm sure. Let me see. I really hope Beth is left-handed, because this left-hand peg works the best. I can't really tell if she's left-handed though, because I haven't seen the show while she was in it in a while. I haven't caught up to that or whatever. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Beth even. I mean, I usually watch these first run and then don't watch them ever again. Yeah, stupid gun won't stay with her. So, 2 good accessories and 1 fail. Not too bad. Now let's do some size comparisons for the heck of it. Here's the Green family all together, and we've got Herschel, Maggie, Glenn, and Beth now. So this is kind of cool to have, because sisters, father, and brother-in-law, I guess. Or son-in-law, depending on where you are, or husband. And it's not usual that you get a whole family of figures together. I wasn't really expecting them to make a Beth just because she died, but then after they were creating like Dale figures and stuff, I was like, oh shoot, they must be making a Beth, and then they put out a Beth. So here she is right next to her Pops, which actually looks pretty nice. He's quite a bit taller, and he looks a lot more intimidating. Quite thicker. Actually, wow, he's quite fat just comparing him to her. You really get the look of that belly. And then here she is next to Glenn. Yeah, she's not too much smaller than Glenn, but still awfully small. And Glenn is a really short figure. And then here she is next to her sister Maggie, who is not all that much taller than her. I get the feeling like she was a lot taller, the figure, but guess not. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure Beth here is one of the best female figures that McFarlane has made. I mean, just saying. Just like the Carol figures that they make are not very good. The Michonne figures, there's like one that's good, so that's this one here. Of course, she usually doesn't have that poncho on, but whatever. And she's probably like the second best female figure just off the top of my head, so not bad actually. And then is she worth the $18? No, just because I had to beat myself to get her to get myself to buy her. She's so tiny and there are flaws with her, but if you manage to get her cheaper, go for it if you can at all. And I've heard that people can price match these figures with the Series 8 figures at Toys R Us, and then they're able to get it for $15. So definitely go for that. She is worth $15, since compared to all the other $15 figures that we've gotten over the years, she is better than most of them. Especially one of my least favorite characters from this wave of figures. She's better than Eugene, that figure, which I compared her to previously. And here she is next to a horrified looking Dale. And one of the final tests is, can she sit in a car? And yes, she can. And she can look like she's driving it quite well because of her good arm articulation and then great leg bending articulation. She's actually quite a natural looking car driver. And I just realized this is going to be one of the last few times that I'm able to do the car sit down thing, because 5-inch figures are ending. I'm going to have to find a 7-inch styled car that they can sit down in. For the new waves, that is. Yeah, so anyway guys, make sure to comment what you think about this figure. I actually am quite enamored of it. I didn't think I would like it at all, and here in my hand I'm like, darn, I like it. I was planning on returning her, but then upon seeing her closer, I'm like, I can't do it. Okay, so tell me what you guys think. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace.